Stop standing in front of your bathroom mirror reciting empty affirmations. Stop doing awkward power poses in the elevator before your big meeting. Stop repeating the phrase, "fake it till you make it," as if it is some kind of profound psychological secret. Throw away the books written by pickup artists, delete the podcasts from the loud, aggressive alpha male influencers, and stop believing the toxic, debilitating lie that confidence is a performance. I am going to tell you the brutal, unfiltered truth about why you feel so incredibly insecure. It is going to completely contradict everything the modern self-help industry has taught you about self-esteem, dominance, and social power. It is going to sting. Your ego is going to actively try to reject what I am about to say. But it is the exact psychological truth you need to hear to finally stop feeling like an imposter in your own life. The modern gurus, the body language experts, and the internet coaches have sold you a massive, exhausting, and fragile scam. They have convinced you that confidence is an armor you put on from the outside. They tell you that if you just buy the right suit, lower the pitch of your voice, stand with your chest puffed out, and memorize the right psychological tricks, the world will respect you. They tell you that confidence means walking into a room and knowing, without a shadow of a doubt, that you are the best man in it. It is a complete and utter lie. It is a psychological trap designed to keep you endlessly self-conscious, constantly monitoring your own behavior, and running on a hamster wheel of external validation that has no finish line. You know exactly the agonizing exhaustion I am talking about. You have lived it 1,000 times. It happens every time you walk into a crowded room, a networking event, or a date. On the outside, you look put together. You have the clothes. You have the smile. You have the posture. But on the inside, your nervous system is vibrating with panic. Your heart rate is slightly elevated. Your breathing is shallow. Your jaw is clenched. You are constantly scanning the room, trying to read the micro-expressions of everyone you talk to. Did they like my joke? Did I sound stupid when I said that? Are they looking at my flaws? You are completely disconnected from the present moment because your brain is running a million background simulations, trying to calculate exactly what you need to say and do to ensure that no one rejects you. You are acting. You are playing a character that you have designed specifically to extract approval from strangers. And the worst part is, even when it works, it doesn't fix the problem. Let's say you put on the mask, you perform perfectly, and you get the promotion, or the date, or the applause. Do you feel a deep, resonant sense of peace? No. You feel a terrifying wave of imposter syndrome. You think, they don't actually like me. They like the performance. And now I have to keep performing for the rest of my life, or they will find out I am a fraud. You have built a house on a foundation of sand, and you live in constant, paralyzing fear of the wind. You are burning through your most valuable psychological asset, your emotional energy, trying to manipulate the perceptions of other people. You think you are being confident. You are actually being compliant. You are bending your personality, softening your opinions, and hiding your true nature because you are absolutely terrified of friction. You are a chameleon, and your subconscious brain knows that chameleons only change their colors because they are at the bottom of the food chain, trying not to be eaten. You radiate a subtle, needy energy that high-level people, authentic people, and genuine partners can smell on you from a mile away. No one truly respects a man who is desperately trying to be respected. If you are finally sick and tired of the performance, if you are exhausted from carrying the heavy, suffocating weight of other people's opinions, and if you are ready to drop the fake bravado and build an identity made of solid, immovable rock, then hit subscribe right now. We are about to completely tear down your modern conditioning and install an ancient, unbreakable psychological operating system. Let's look at the men who actually understood how to dominate reality. The men who conquered the known world, advised empires, and possessed an inner authority that modern billionaires would pay all their fortunes to acquire. The Stoics. They did not practice power poses. They did not operate from a state of frantic, terrified posturing. They understood a foundational truth about human psychology that your modern confidence coach is completely blind to. True confidence is not the belief that you will succeed. True confidence is the absolute, unshakable certainty that you will be completely fine if you fail. Let me repeat that. It is not the belief that everyone will like you. It is the realization that you do not need them to. Think about Cato the Younger. One of the most fierce, respected, and unbending Stoic philosophers in the Roman Republic. Cato was a man of immense political power. He was wealthy. He came from a noble bloodline. By all modern standards, he had every reason to walk around in the finest purple togas, demanding the respect of the crowd, showing off his high market value. But Cato did something that would cause a modern alpha male influencer to have a panic attack. He intentionally walked through the streets of Rome barefoot. He intentionally wore tunics of an unpopular, outdated color. He intentionally walked without a hat in the pouring rain and the blistering sun. He didn't do this because he was crazy. He didn't do this because he lacked fashion sense. He did it as a highly calculated, ruthless psychological exercise. Cato actively practiced voluntary humiliation. He wrote that he did this to train himself to be ashamed only of things that were truly shameful. He wanted to expose his ego to the ridicule of the mob. He wanted the corrupt politicians, the gossiping elites, and the common people to point at him, laugh at him, and think he was a fool. Why? Because he wanted to prove to his own nervous system that their laughter could not touch his soul. He dragged his worst-case social scenario out of the shadows and lived inside of it. And in doing so, he completely shattered its power over him. While the other politicians were obsessing over their haircuts, terrified of saying the wrong thing, and bending their morals to get applause, Cato became the most terrifyingly powerful man in the Senate. Because you cannot manipulate a man who does not care if you laugh at him. You cannot bribe, threaten, or socially pressure a man who has already voluntarily destroyed his own public image. Cato understood that a fragile ego is a leash around your neck, and the mob holds the other end. When you desperately try to project confidence, you are tightening that leash. You are saying, "Please, universe, validate my performance so I can feel safe." You are handing the keys to your emotional state over to the chaotic, uncontrollable opinions of other people. The Stoics realized that attaching your self-worth to external validation is a form of voluntary slavery. Think about Epictetus. He was born a slave. He was physically crippled. He possessed absolutely zero of the traits that modern society tells you are required for confidence. He wasn't rich. He wasn't handsome. He wasn't physically dominant. But his mind was infinitely more sovereign than yours. Why? Because Epictetus drew a massive, uncompromising line in the sand the moment he woke up every single morning. The dichotomy of control. He stated that there are things completely outside of our control: our bodies, our reputations, our wealth, the economy, the weather, and most importantly, the perceptions of other people. They are external noise. They are the weather. But his mind, his judgment, his principles, and his chosen actions were his absolute, untouchable domain. When you feel socially anxious, when you feel a lack of confidence, you are completely blurring that line. You are actively trespassing into someone else's mind. You are demanding that another human being view you in a specific, flattering light. You are trying to command the weather, and you are crying when it rains. Epictetus would look at a modern man sweating through his shirt during a job interview, terrified of not being liked, and he would feel profound pity. He would say, "You are a fool. You are trying to rule a kingdom that does not belong to you. You cannot force a hiring manager to see your value. You cannot force a woman to find you attractive. You cannot force the room to think you are charismatic. They belong to the realm of the external. They are outside the wall of your citadel. And you wonder why you feel paralyzed with anxiety. You wonder why your jaw is locked, why your chest is tight, why you cannot sleep before a big event. It is because you are carrying the psychological weight of trying to manipulate the future and control the minds of strangers. You are trying to play God, and your nervous system is collapsing under the pressure. You have to completely shift your paradigm. You have to stop operating through the performance of bravado, and start operating through Stoic alignment. Let me introduce you to the most powerful mental model in ancient philosophy regarding human interaction. It is a concept that completely shatters the modern idea of faking it till you make it. The death of the audience. Modern society has trained you to treat every single interaction as a performance on a stage. You step up to the microphone. You are terrified of missing your lines. Your entire sense of self-worth is attached to getting a standing ovation. He tells himself, if they don't laugh, I am a failure. If they reject me, I am worthless. If they don't respect me, I have no power. He is staring at the audience with pure, unadulterated desperation. And because he is tense, because he is frantic, because he is consumed by the outcome, his performance is stiff. It is unnatural. It is predictable. He fails. And then he falls to his knees and cries, believing he just didn't try hard enough, or that he needs to buy a better script. Now, look at the Stoic. The Stoic steps onto the exact same stage. He holds the exact same microphone. But his internal operating system is completely different. The Stoic understands the dichotomy of control. He knows that he controls his preparation. He controls his honesty. He controls his posture. He controls the truth of his words. He controls everything leading up to the delivery of the speech. But he also knows a brutal, undeniable truth. The exact millisecond the words leave his mouth, they are no longer his. The audience might be in a bad mood. They might be distracted. They might fundamentally disagree with his values. The outcome is entirely, fundamentally outside of his control. So what does the Stoic do? He speaks his absolute truth with flawless precision. And then, he emotionally detaches from the applause. He literally does not care if the audience claps or throws tomatoes. His success is not defined by the reaction of the mob. His success is defined by his own internal alignment with his character. He speaks. His voice is perfectly steady. His breathing is calm. He is not clouded by desperation. He is not vibrating with anxiety. And whether the room erupts in cheers or sits in dead, awkward silence, the Stoic remains completely unbothered. He smiles, steps off the stage, and prepares for the next moment of his life. This is the secret that modern society has kept from you. The ultimate hack to achieving overwhelming confidence is to stop needing the validation. You must violently sever the emotional cord between your self-worth and the reactions of other people. This requires a complete death of the fragile ego you have spent your whole life building. Your ego tells you that you are your reputation. Your ego tells you that you are the number of people who admire you, the title on your business card, and the approval of your peers. That ego is not a mark of strength. It is a leash around your neck. Because as long as you identify with how others perceive you, the world owns you. You must stop viewing your life as a beauty pageant where you must win the prize. You must view your life as the practice of a craft. Let's break down the actual psychology of what happens when you drop the desperate performance. Let's look at your social life. When you walk into a room with the desperate need to be seen as alpha or important, you ruin the dynamic. You talk too much. You interrupt people to prove how smart you are. You posture and pose like a threatened animal. You radiate weakness masquerading as strength. And the people in the room instinctively lose respect for you. The Stoic walks into the exact same room, but he has already fired the audience. He knows his value. But he has already accepted the absolute worst-case scenario. He has already emotionally detached from the need to be the center of attention. He thinks, I am here to observe. If they like me, fine. If they ignore me, fine. It is not my concern. Because he doesn't need the room, he is calm. He speaks slowly. He asks genuine questions because he isn't waiting for his turn to brag. He is not afraid of silence. And because he is entirely comfortable in his own skin, he becomes magnetic. People are biologically wired to be attracted to sovereign, unbothered strength and repulsed by anxious, loud neediness. He gets the respect precisely because he stopped trying to force it. Let's look at your career and negotiations. When you are desperately trying to project confidence to win a deal, you become a chameleon. You suppress your actual opinions. You hide your true nature. You overpromise and mold yourself into whatever you think the client wants. You are acting. And your subconscious knows you are lying. This creates a massive biological disconnect. It triggers chronic anxiety because you are constantly monitoring your performance to make sure the mask doesn't slip. The Stoic looks at the exact same negotiation, drops the performance, and chooses radical authenticity. He speaks his actual mind. He sets real boundaries. He admits when he doesn't know the answer. He does not fake expertise. He aims perfectly by being entirely true to his own character. And he completely lets go of whether the client stays or leaves. If they leave, they were incompatible weather. He does not chase them. And paradoxically, this absolute lack of desperate effort, this willingness to show radical honesty, is exactly what creates deep, unbreakable trust and authority. You are exhausting yourself trying to bend the laws of physics. You are trying to force water to flow uphill by manipulating other people's minds. The problem is not that you lack social skills. The problem is that you are applying your skills to the wrong metric. You are highly skilled at worrying about what they think. You are incredibly consistent at people-pleasing. You are a master at stressing over your own reputation. You need to redirect that exact same mental energy toward mastering your own alignment. I want you to look at the absolute worst-case scenario of whatever social or professional interaction you are stressing about right now. What if you go on the date, you act completely like yourself, and they find you boring? What if you speak up in the meeting, give your honest opinion, and your boss completely disagrees? What if you walk into the room, and absolutely no one notices you? Confront that fear head-on. Stare directly into the abyss of social rejection. Would your physical body instantly dissolve? Would your lungs stop processing oxygen? Would the universe collapse because someone didn't applaud your existence? No. The world would keep spinning perfectly fine without their validation. You would survive. You would still have your mind. You would still have your virtues. You would still have the ability to choose your next action based on reason. The moment you truly, deeply realize in your bones that you do not need their approval to survive, your entire aura changes. You stop radiating frantic, nervous, performing energy. You stop vibrating with the anxious frequency of a subordinate waiting for a reward. You start walking through your life with the unshakable, terrifying gravity of a sovereign individual. You are there to practice your character, not to beg reality for a favor. This doesn't mean you become arrogant, rude, or antisocial. In fact, it is the exact opposite. When you are no longer operating from a place of chronic, outcome-induced social panic, you can actually connect with people on a profoundly deep level. But it is the connection of a master craftsman, not the frantic grasping of a drowning man. You can be generous with your attention because you aren't secretly trying to extract validation in return. You can pursue excellence and speak your mind because it aligns with your nature, not to prove to your peers that you are worthy. The modern world is a game of psychological leverage. And the ultimate leverage is the willingness to let go of the result, and the willingness to be disliked. If you are not willing to detach your ego from the applause, then you have already surrendered your entire life to the mob of circumstance. You must stop negotiating your sovereignty. You must stop hoping that if you just learn the right hacks or buy the right clothes, eventually the world will be forced to give you confidence. The world will never give you confidence. Confidence is manufactured internally when you finally stop trying to control the uncontrollable perceptions of strangers. Reality does not owe you a seamless social victory, and the universe certainly does not care about your carefully curated public image. You are entirely, completely responsible for the state of your own consciousness. Stop complaining about how anxious you feel when you are actively inviting the exhaustion into your life through your obsession with your reputation. Your social anxiety, your imposter syndrome, your chronic sense of feeling inadequate, they are not signs that you need a better self-help book. They are an alarm system. They are your biology screaming at you that you are living out of alignment. That you are shrinking your incredible human potential by tying it to the fleeting, chaotic movements of the external world's opinions. Listen to the alarm. Stop trying to hack reality with sheer bravado and fake posturing. Shatter the illusion that confidence requires you to be universally loved. Plant your feet firmly on the ground. Accept your flaws. Accept the possibility of absolute, public failure. Draw your bow with absolute focus on your own character. And then, release the string. Stop chasing the arrow. Let the wind do what it wants. Let the crowd whisper what they will. Your job is already done.